This, in fact, will be our 4th supportive housing initiative. As you can see from the crowded City Hall steps, we already have overwhelming support with over 140 endorsements before our campaign officially starts. The need is great, the time is now, and we have momentum. Make sure your organization is on this list too. For those here today, follow us on Twitter at For New York, New York Housing, and join the campaign, the conversation, with hashtag For New York, New York Housing.
We need 30,000
Now,
units.
our next speaker, Steve Coe, CEO of Community Access, is very experienced in advocating for supportive housing, as he has been a leader in all New York supportive housing campaigns. Community Access, under Steve's leadership, has created and manages quality supportive housing for hundreds of formerly homeless singles and families. He will share with you more details of supportive housing in our campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Good morning. Good morning. I was present in 1990 when Mayor Dinkins and Governor Cuomo announced the first city-state agreement to build 5,000 units of supportive housing for people who were homeless and mentally ill. It was a bold experiment for a model that had not been tested on a large scale. A model that imagined mixing units for disabled and homeless people with affordable units for working poor, both singles and families. We would end segregated housing residential models. We would accept tenants regardless of their diagnosis. We would provide high-end amenities like computer centers, exercise rooms, 24-hour front desk, and we would offer support services to any tenant who requested it. We would also respect the rights of tenants to live their own lives. But we would also hold tenants responsible to pay their rent and respect the rights of their neighbors. The results have been outstanding. On the human side, the improved quality of life for our tenants has been remarkable. Formerly homeless people now have primary care physicians, get routine checkups, can reconnect with their families, find jobs, socialize with friends, and many buildings even adopt a pet.
Yes, that's right.
Financially, the results are equally successful. Turnover rates are below 2%. Tenants pay their rent on time 95% of the time. For investors who bought tax credits to build much of this housing, there has never been a default, meaning the buildings are well maintained and meeting all their financial obligations.
That's eviction.
My agency alone, Community Access, has built over 1,000 units of supportive housing, with plans to add another 1,000 units within the decade.
That's right,
I have over 100 colleagues in New York City who can report similar results, many of them standing behind me right now.
Yes.
Today there are over 47,000 units in New York State. Obviously this would not be possible if the model didn't work. Over the years we've also learned that many high-need groups can benefit from supportive housing, such as people in recovery from substance use, people with HIV/AIDS, other chronic health issues, youth aging out of foster care, survivors of domestic violence, formerly incarcerated women with children, and the list goes on.
Keep going.
All can thrive in supportive housing.
We all need it.
And seniors. We're here today to support the city and the state as they develop new plans to expand affordable housing. The mayor just came out with a plan for 200,000 units. The campaign for New York Housing proposal complements these initiatives by dedicating within these programs 30,000 units for people who are the most vulnerable to use expensive services, live on our streets, and cycle through our courts, hospitals, and shelters. As developers and service providers with 3 decades of experience, we have the capacity and the expertise to do more, a lot more. Thank you very much.
Words from Maya Angelou.
Moment of silence for her.
I am a human. Nothing human is alien to me. I'm here today to call on our elected leaders from the state and the city to come together, to work together, to fund together, and to make the space together for 30,000 vulnerable people who need safe and supportive housing, a place to call home. New York, New York 4. I've been on a lot of committees. I was on a committee to end chronic homelessness.
Yes.
I wrote the first chapter, but we're going to write the final chapter.
Yeah.
We're going to write it by telling our stories. We're going to write it with our lives. We're going to leave the laptops at home. We're going to write it with our hands as we make signs and shake hands and educate and communicate the message that everybody is human.
That's right.
Everybody deserves a home,
That's
a
right.
place that is safe, where
Yes.
we can be rooted in this universe.
That's right.
I come from the center of the universe, Staten Island. And I got news for you. The center of the universe's coastline was devastated by Sandy.
Yes.
And we're losing thousands of units of affordable housing in
Yes.
Staten Island.
Yes.
Where many people have lived and have now lost their place. I'm a
Yes.
victim.
Sad.
We begin there, in the spaces and places where people have been forced out, to carve out the sacred space, the human space, the moral space, so that everybody can live in their own space.
Yes.
That is what supportive housing is about.
Yes.
They need 30,000 units.
From the streets to the shelter to City Hall to Albany.
Yes.
Everywhere.
From standing outside to making inside possible. The next book I want to see are the architectural plans for the buildings for 30,000 units. That's the chapter we can write and we must write with our lives. For ourselves, for our neighbors in need, for everyone who is human. Because nothing human is alien to us and everything human is deserved by us.
Mayor de Blasio is the man. Housing New York is the plan. Mayor de Blasio is the man. Housing New York is the plan. Okay?
Yeah.
Governor Cuomo, hear our call. Supportive housing. One and all. Governor Cuomo, hear our call. Supportive housing. One and all. Okay.
They need 30,000 units.
It's now my pleasure to introduce Mary Brosnahan, who's been a hero for homeless people and somebody I've known and respected for 30 years. She's the president of the Coalition for the Homeless.
Doing great work.
Thank you, Steve, and everyone here today. There's not much to say after Terry Troya. We really are all in this together. I get such energy and strength from my colleagues, but the real people that keep us going every day are the folks that we're in partnership. Homeless people that persevere through thick and thin, even though they don't have a roof over their heads.
That's
Even
right.
though many of them are struggling to keep their kids in school, trying to keep a job, these are the people that you don't really see or hear from. And so the real stars today are the folks I'm about to introduce. So first I'd like to introduce Kendra Oki, a formerly homeless mom, and she's here to talk about, not only about herself, but her wonderful son.
Yeah. God bless.
First of all, I want to thank all the agencies that came out today to fight for folks that are homeless, domestic violence, mental illness, whatever we're going through as a homeless community. Because I want you to know that, look around, just look around right on this circle, that when I left shelter, I said I would keep fighting for everyone I left behind. And we're fighting today. Are we fighting today?
Yes, ma'am. We're all here together.
So I ended up in the shelter 4 years ago with my son from domestic violence and criminal stalking. And I told my job at the hospital, well, I'll just be relocated. And, you know, they said, I'll hold your job for 6 months. But little did I know when I entered into a broken system that I would not be leaving shelter for 3 years. We moved 10 times, 6 outside moves and around town, and then 4 moves. My son was diagnosed as mild to moderate autism before we entered into shelter. Now it's severe autism, seizures. He was allergic to roaches, so we spent many nights in emergency rooms because some of the shelters have filthy conditions. Yes. So today, I am now into our supportive housing unit after waiting and fighting. I'd like to thank Bill de Blasio, Office for Advocacy Mayor Barr for Association for fighting the Children's Aid Society. I'd like to thank Gail Brewer for getting me accepted for supportive housing when they said I did not qualify after being in shelter for over a year. The qualifications, as we know, is a year in shelter. So I just want to say that many people are being denied the right to get out, and we need to get out. So today, I am fighting for all these units that we're looking for. I was accepted a year and a half before I left shelter. I was waiting for a year and a half to be out into supportive housing. I was accepted and we couldn't get out because there was no units available. So we waited. Units for families are very tough to get. And I just want to say thank you all today for being out here advocating and rallying around today so that we can all get out of shelter. I really like to sit down with de Blasio and tell them all the things that were wrong that I encountered in shelter because we need to make a change.
And as Kendra mentioned, there are only one opening for housing units for every 6 applicants right now. We're tired of just seeing the numbers in the shelters go up and up and up every month. And permanent housing, in this case with support services, is what's going to make the real difference.
That's not right.
That's right. I'll let Kermit Jones tell his story. I spent a lot of time with him and heard the entire story. He's just going to share a short piece of his life with you. And anyway, talk about inspiration. Here's Kermit Jones.
My name is Kermit Jones. I'm nervous. I don't speak in front of crowds.
Don't worry. We'll help you.
We got you there.
Don't cry.
I suffered for many years with substance abuse. And in 2011, I was incarcerated. And when I came home in 2013, I entered the shelter system. I didn't know anything about the shelter system. I didn't know the rules and regulations. Someone told me to go to Coalition of the Homeless. I needed an address to get mail. My public assistance case was cut off like every week because my mail was going everywhere. I got a crisis intervention manager, and I became a member of the CAG advisory group, which I meet every other Tuesday night to receive information about the shelter system and how to get out. I'm in a Davidson Shelter Hotel. They call it shelter, hotel, call it what you want. It's a place for me to sleep at night. I completed the outpatient program last year, and I now have 3 years clean.
Amen. God
Good
bless.
man. Yeah, that's right. God bless. That's right.
I was
That's
forced
right.
to go to the VESIT program on Access, and I completed that program, and I now have my KSAT, certified alcohol and substance
Amen.
counselor.
That's right.
In March,
Right.
I started my internship, and I'm now a case manager or substance counselor at Housing Work.
Woo! Yeah. That's right. That's
But
right.
I'm stuck in the shelter. And what I'm hoping is that I'm praying every day that these 30,000 units will help me and other people. And I'm hoping to get into my own supportive housing so I can continue my career and help others who are coming to the same situation that I found myself in.
Amen.
That's right, bro. That's right.
About inspiration. So we heard from Kendra, Mom, and Kermit, who's a dad. He didn't talk about his kids today. But the last person I'm going to introduce is Shamel Giles. Is he here?
Woo! Come on, bro.
And he's at Jasper Hall right now. And I'll just let him tell you a little bit about what he's been going through.
Come on, talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it, bro. Talk about it.
Hello, my name is Shamel Giles, and I would like to say that I'm destined for greatness. Before getting into supportive housing, I was actually a homeless youth. I was still in high school, and I just couldn't get out of high school. I couldn't focus. I was always in trouble. And thank you to Jasper Hall and Simba. I was able to get into supportive housing. From there, they just helped me. Helped me get to college, helped me graduate.
Yes,
and I just
amen.
finished my first
Thank
year
God.
of
That's
college.
right, bro. That's right, baby. That's right. Yeah.
I really hope that they get these units because when I wasn't in the units, I was blind. I couldn't really see, I couldn't focus. I didn't know what I didn't know what I was destined for.
That's right.
When I got into supportive housing, it was like glasses to me. I could see what I wanted in life,
Right.
and now I'm trying to pursue it.
There you go.
And that's all I have to say.
That's right, baby. That's right. Homeless, not helpless. Homeless, not helpless. Homeless, not helpless. Thank you.
I'm representing the Supportive Housing Network of New York. We represent all these wonderful nonprofits that do supportive housing across the state. The It's my job to close out this lovely event today. And I'd like to start by thanking everybody that made today possible. So everybody who's been part of this budding campaign the last couple of months and helped get today together, please raise your hand. Thank you. And I also want to thank everybody who signed the campaign. So if everybody here who signed on, their agency signed on to the campaign, please raise your hand. Fantastic. There's nothing more important and more powerful than the stories that you've heard today. So I'm just going to end with a couple last big picture comments about supportive housing. Supportive housing also creates jobs. We need jobs?
Yes!
New York 3's, by the end of New York 3, it will have created 7,000 construction jobs and almost 1,000 social work and property management jobs.
That's right. That's what's up. That's what's up.
And supportive housing isn't built in a vacuum. It's a catalyst for affordable housing throughout the city. So we're not just creating housing for people who are homeless, we're creating housing for people before they become homeless.
That's right, yes.
We're creating thousands and thousands of affordable units throughout the city. And I don't want that to get lost in the message.
Right, and we need
more.
New York Port.
We need more.
And we also know that supportive housing improves neighborhoods.
That's right, yes.
It goes in, it replaces abandoned lots, dilapidated buildings, it actually improves property values, which people love to hear.
People have homes, they won't do crime.
Exactly. So, but the main reason we're here today is because supportive housing saves lives.
Yes.
And that's why we're here asking for more. That's why they're asking for more. And that's why Albany's asking for more.
That's right, we need more.
We need more.
More.